Awesome talk, awesome talk. We got some awesome talk today. Awesome talk, oh, awesome talk. You all like the way we talk. It's awesome, awesome talk, oh, awesome talk. You like the way we awesome talk. It's awesome talk, fucking awesome talk. You like the way we talk. It's fucking awesome. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, who are you saying they to?
Who are you talking to?
We are live. We are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Awesome Talk, a quarantine edition number 32 on June... What the hell is it? June 25th, 2021. How is everybody doing tonight?
Oh, I forgot to check.
Peachy keen, buddy. Peachy keen.
Good.
We're just talking about weather modification. That's all.
It's a normal chit
Just
chat.
a normal conversation in suburban households these days. Weather modification.
Yeah, and licensing.
Yeah. Well...
Get your weather modification licenses. They're cheap.
Does it require like classes or training to go?
No,
No.
not at all.
You can just be an amateur.
You just apply for it and you get it, basically.
Dude, I want to write a TV show about like two neighbors that both get a permit and then they both have dueling weather. Like one of them is like trying to create thunderstorms and the other one's trying to like do something opposite it. And like they're like at war. Like the neighborhood fucking hates them.
Oh my god, that'd be really great. Dueling weather.
I don't even know what you would call them. Weather bandits. They're not
Weather
bandits.
bandits.
They have permits.
So they're totally legal. I got a permit, buddy. I can make it hail in this neighborhood if I want to. Fuck your new car.
I can see how that would be useful though. Like out on the West Coast, you know, they need rain. Eventually, eventually that's probably going to become a norm. You know, with the way that things are headed.
They're starting to actually talk about it in regular news and stuff now, even though it's been fucking happening for like 50 years. Yeah. I just saw an article on it the other day. They were like, "Oh, weather modification is real," and it's like, yeah, it has been.
You know what sucks about that?
You can get licenses for it through the government. That's how real it is.
It sucks because I swear to God, I heard Alex Jones say that in like 2005.
Oh God!
And it's just another goddamn thing that Alex Jones said in the early 2000s where I go, huh.
Dude, cloud seeding's been around for as far as I can remember.
Stones here? Is that who that is? Is Stones here?
Yeah. Yep, that's me.
Oh,
yeah,
there you
dude,
are. There you are. I was wondering who was
cloud
mansplaining at me through the screen just then.
Cloud seeding's been around forever. In fact, it's a huge problem in most of Asia because they like cloud. It's like cloud seeding wars because everyone's so desperate for the water that like one valley will cloud seed, but then the next valley won't get any rain. So they're pissed off at the initial valley for seeding their fucking clouds, and like it's actually like a big problem with like fair water rights.
Yeah, it's basically like glycalization. They dump a bunch of shit into the atmosphere that starts, you know, pulling moisture to it.
Yeah, aluminum I think is a big part of it, right? If I remember.
I don't think aluminum's used. I think that was like a conspiracy thing that people were trying to say that they were using in chemtrails and stuff. But that was for like mind control and weird shit. This is just legit.
I thought
just
they were
trying
using
to get rain.
I think they're using some type of heavy metal for the cloud seeding.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't really know what they used, but I'm sure they used a bunch of different shit.
I remember learning about that. I was
experimental
about that. Worried about cloud seeding.
Cloud Wars. That's all I heard.
That's gonna be a new fucking Discovery Channel show in like the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Probably.
Cloud Wars.
Cloud Wars.
Like they call themselves Cloud Warriors.
Yeah.
They're all self-important.
That water that falls down from that, though, that can't be, I don't know. I imagine that can't be
healthy.
Yeah, I was struggling to find the word. I can't imagine that that's like good for. Would that make everything worse, or would it make things better?
Listen, do you want to, have no water until you die, or would you rather have a nice, disgusting glass of completely toxic, delicious water?
Water.
You can't have everything.
Is it toxic? Do we even know?
Well, we were just sort of philosophizing about it.
I think you were able to breathe glycol and eat it, but not in large amounts.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same thing, but
this is what happens in like they think of things to make things better, but they end up making shit worse. Imagine like spraying crops with glycol water. I just can't. I don't know, man.
I mean, think about everything that we spray our crops with now. It doesn't. Yeah. Like the shit that we spray some crops with, they need hazmat suits to spray it. So yeah. But boy, I sure want to eat that.
Yeah. Yeah, DDT.
Or DDT, yeah.
We had on someone on the show once who was an organic farmer that then went from that to GMO crops. And he told us about how fucking unbelievably toxic everything was. And like they have to wear special suits and shit. And they can't touch it. And he said that like a while later, he said that his farm had decided to go back to organic, but it would take, I don't remember how many years before the ground had recovered enough to do that. It was like, holy shit, man. Like, we're just destroying everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's basically no topsoil anywhere anymore because of
that. Yeah, that's going to be real rough in the next, I think it's like less than 20 years left of topsoil we have or something ridiculous like that, or less than 40 years. Oh, man.
And there's like no water in the West right now. The whole thing is drying up, probably because the topsoil's gone, and
there's no.
Yeah, there's nothing keeping it.
That's not.
So.
Yeah.
Boy, we really fucked this planet.
Oh, we're fucking.
Oh yeah.
We should just put a bunch of plastic microbeads down in place of the topsoil. That should help.
Right. Just replace all the grass with astroturf.
We certainly have enough of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember when they filled up that whole, I forget where it was like a water reservoir in California, and they filled it up with these things called shade balls, and they were just like little black balls.
Yeah, there's like 500 million of them or something.
Yeah, then they found out like a year or two later, they were like, oh, well, that didn't really work all that much.
Oh, I didn't know it didn't work.
Wait, what were they? What were they for?
Well, they used black, first of all, which traps heat. So I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with that.
They were little round, either plastic or rubber balls, and they dumped them all into this water reservoir so that it basically covered the surface. And I guess the idea was that the sun wouldn't hit it and it would like stop evaporation to reserve water. So they literally like dumped like millions of these balls, like these water reservoirs. And then they found out, they were like, well, that didn't work.
Gee, so what happened to the balls?
Good question.
That's always the question, isn't it?
Same thing that happens to all plastic in water. It starts dissolving into it and contaminating it.
I thought you were going to say the same thing that happens to all balls in the end.
They all go bust.
They end up floating in a reservoir.
In a reservoir. I wanted to say hello in the chat to Brandy and Jared and Rose and Scott. Scott says, hi, you beautiful people. Rose says, people need to stop planting fucking grass.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Grass is such a fucking waste of time.
No, like, well, not time. It's awful. Like, it's just the worst possible thing to fucking choose to plant in front of your house.
Yeah, I mean, like, if... Like a great way to have sort of like a local little revolution in your neighborhood would be to put like gardens on your front lawn instead of worrying about your grass, and then let your neighbors come and pick whatever they fucking want. If a whole fucking neighborhood came together and did that, imagine how much food you would have for everybody and never have to fucking.
Well, all you need is actually more diverse plant life, because like if your lawn starts turning into a meadow, naturally the other things that start growing will take moisture away from the grass in certain spots and start naturally getting rid of the grass and replacing it with other plant life.
Yeah.
Then it becomes more of like a meadow, and that's more healthy for bees, it's more healthy for animals, all that shit.
Sure.
But, you know, with the laws that we have to mow the lawn and have it a certain height, it just doesn't happen.
Is that a law? I'm not a homeowner, so I have fucking no. Like you just said
It's
that, and it blew my mind a little bit.
Maybe not a law, but it's an ordinance.
So you can't grow. You can't grow a garden in your front lawn, or like does that? Because like I know my sister has a lot of really huge like landscaping and you know in where she lives in the front yard, but I guess that's because it's sort of fenced off. Like it's kind of fenced off, and it's not like part of the lawn. I don't know. I don't know if there's ways around it.
It depends on the town. A lot of towns just want curb appeal for taxes. It's pretty stupid. Yeah.
What? Okay. I always thought that was like an HOA, like a homeowners association kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know what those are for. Like, I don't know.
My town is, I can't have the grass taller than like a foot without getting fined.
Whoa.
A foot? That seems pretty intense, though.
Yeah, that definitely is a lot of grass.
Yeah.
I guess my question is but what if you're growing something else? Like, can you have tomato plants and like stuff like that all over your lawn?
It all depends on the town. Like in my town, I think you're allowed to garden in the front yard, but a lot of places won't allow it. Just like you're not allowed to collect water from the rain. You know, it's just an ordinance in the town.
Don't collect.
Who's out there looking for people that do that though?
People who are profiting off of it.
And you know
the rain. Well, I want to know who the rainwater police is.
The water company.
You know who else is, Kristen? Big Brother. And I'll tell you what, Big Brother is us, by the way. It's not the government or the police, it's us. Like
you mean the regulars?
Yeah, yeah, the regs. And like I saw this thing the other day where this guy, like, he had built his son a treehouse in his backyard. And I guess that was against some town ordinance or something. And some lady who just like took walks every day complained about it, and the town forced him to take the treehouse. It was like some little shit treehouse, and forced him to take it down. And he left a note on the front. He like stapled it to the tree in his front yard that said, "To the lady who walks by my house every day who filed this complaint, just so you know, I took my kids' treehouse down so they could spend more time inside playing the Xbox. Thank you. This will no longer hurt your eyesight as you walk past my house and glare into my backyard." And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly who fuck it. That's what I mean when I say like Big Brother's doing it. It's us. It's Karens.
It's the Karens. Yeah.
The Karen Patrol is Big Brother. That's how they packaged it. They packaged it that way.
Yeah, whatever happened to just like, if you don't like how it looks, don't look at it.
Or how about mind your own fucking business? This is my yard.
Yeah, exactly. It's not your fucking property. Leave me alone.
Yeah. But I guess then things get dicey when you throw.
Dude, I think half of the Americans in this country would prefer North Korea or some shit, because most of them are fucking. They act like it. They don't like freedoms.
Oh, dude, I totally agree.
They pretend they like freedom, but they don't really like freedom.
No, I totally know what you mean. Totally, they act like people who live in North Korea while barking about how we might turn into North Korea. Like at the same time, it's really, really batshit.
Irony to the fullest, man.
It's just such a fucking lack of self-awareness.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Like an astonishing lack of self-awareness.
It's just brainwashing done right.
And done well. It's impressive if it wasn't so fucking depressing and horrible for the rest of us.
Yeah.
They like, Rose said, they like freedom as long as it suits them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. And we know who we're talking about here. It's always the same fucking group. I'm sorry, it's always the same fucking group. I saw this thing today. I was on
dude, I don't know, man. I think both sides are fucking guilty of that. Definitely.
I don't know.
I agree, because I know some extra progressive people who are just progressive for the sake of wanting to tell everybody else that they're wrong. And like gatekeep.
You're right. They gatekeep. You're
knowledge.
Right. No, you guys are right.
Helping anyone.
Yeah,
like,
you guys are right.
It's annoying. Right. I would say what's a good example of that? Like people who were like hardcore about Hillary Clinton in 2016 is the best example I can have about that.
What, with the pussy hats and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little extreme.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know. I don't know. The whole like I feel like the last like 5 to 10 years of the internet have opened the whole world up to everybody, and now like I feel like unsure of everything. Like everything that I see, every fucking, every fucking so-called woke thing I see, every cancel culture thing I see, like I'm just starting to see things I didn't see before, I guess. But you're right. There are people who gatekeep on the left. And they also are utterly humorless.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand that, man.
Utterly humor. Now here's the problem with that conversation is that it's very nuanced, and it is a base. It's like on a thing to thing basis. It's not like across the board type of a thing where like you can look at one thing. How would I put this? You can look at one thing and have an opinion about it, like in terms of comedy, and then you can look at another thing, have it be in the, created in the same realm or the same like school of thought, and have it completely mean another thing. So you can't say that things are off limits or people are. It's hard to explain.
No, it makes sense what you're saying. I mean, for me personally, when I say gatekeeping, I'm talking about a group of people who are ignorant through no fault of their own and say shit that is like racist and stupid or, hurtful, transphobic, whatever it is. And it's simply because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
And then rather than taking that as an opportunity to educate, some people will jump on that and gatekeep it and be like, well, why don't you know this? Why don't you know this is wrong to say? Like, you should know this is wrong to say, without actually having a conversation and changing the perspective and saying, look, here's why you shouldn't say this. This is the context. This is my opinion.
Right.
You said it one time, it's cool. Like, we're not holding it against you, I guess that is pretty nuanced though too, because there's sometimes that people say things that are just like wildly inappropriate, and you got to draw a line and be like, look, like that was bad, right. Like gross. I guess another example too would be like, I had this conversation with somebody the other day about the term Latinx and how people who are white have been using Latinx to describe the Latino population.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so with Spanish language, there's masculine, there's feminine.
I know that part.
Describe things, people, whatever. And so a lot of people have been using the term Latinx to describe Latinos or Latinas. And that I had a conversation with someone actually brought it up that was a pretty interesting perspective about it being a gentrification of our language and sort of putting it to fit into this mold when it's like, that's not necessary. Like, we didn't ask for any of that. Like, we just want to be treated the same way and have, access to immigration and healthcare and education and all the same things that you grant all the other citizens in this country. We didn't ask for a Latinx. So I think that's kind of like another
I see what you mean.
Way. So there's like hyper progressive.
It's just performative bullshit. Like
Exactly.
putting up a George Floyd statue, but not
Yeah.
changing, but no police reform. Like it's just
Yeah.
Speaking of gatekeeping, have you ever heard of these websites that are they're basically like pirate websites for research papers and all sorts of shit. I think one's called Sci-Hub.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, they're a little bit overblown. A little bit. If it is what I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if it's what you're talking about, I know like there's this like whole movement to like release like educational information that is otherwise held in like databases that you pay for and things like that.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, the shit that you're looking for is available already. And also, if you know who wrote the article or the piece that you're looking for, if they're alive and you write to them, they'll typically send it to you for free anyway. But I understand the point of the movement.
Who the fuck would think to do that?
Well, that's another thing. Who the fuck would think to do that? That's true.
Like, come on, man.
But most of the information is usually readily available anyway. So
like you're hoping that some random dude is gonna open this piece of mail from somebody he doesn't know and then want to send you something after you found his address.
Well, I don't think anybody's sitting around writing a letter with a feather and a tub of ink. Like, I think that probably you'd get emailed or somebody would tweet at you. But here's the thing. If you're getting into like an educational database, right, and you're looking for things, typically, even if you don't have access to the article, you have access to the abstract of an article and the person who wrote it. So in that instance, if it's somebody who's like current and somebody who's publishing in that particular field and they work at a university or something, typically you can just reach out to that person and they'll send you they'll just send you a copy of the article. It's like pretty well known.
Well, how about
but the movement makes sense to me. The what? I'm sorry?
What about the cost of textbooks in college and shit?
That's bullshit, and it pisses me off, and it's a problem, and it has been for a long time.
Yeah,
and I do not understand.
What we're talking about specific to science research papers.
No, like, there's websites like this for everything.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
absolutely.
the Sci-Hub one was about
all the profit stuff for free.
Like, here's the deal, man. Like what we're looking at here nowadays are publishers. A lot of it is publishers trying to stay in business. But a lot of this could have been avoided if a lot of textbooks had evolved and moved into tablets a decade ago or a decade and a half ago almost at this fucking point. And there was still a way to make money, make it valuable, make it accessible, and stay ahead of the curve at that time. And the fact that like textbooks still cost what they do and that you need a fucking book sometimes still, I think that's just keeping the old world in business. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I hate to fucking say it, but like I'm pretty open with that opinion when it comes to education. Like, the other thing too is what I don't understand is just because people have access to the education doesn't mean that they're going to go looking for it or it's going to do anything or it's going to mean anything.
Well, you also know that there's a lot of books that aren't allowed to be in libraries, right? Because of this.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird rules attached to it. Sure.
Yeah.
You mean like the newer editions of certain textbooks, or
there's no doubt. There's no
like
doubt in my mind that there are
stuff?
contracts in place that keep certain things locked up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
so there's a lot of knowledge that you don't even have access to unless you're doing the certain thing and you prove that, and then you can get the book or whatever the fuck.
The entire nature of education, how it's accessed and how it's delivered, needs to be completely and utterly reimagined. And it's being reimagined by people and groups and things like that. It is happening. It's starting to happen.
Yeah.
You know, but
I always thought knowledge should be fucking available for free, though, no matter what it is.
Knowledge, like if you're,
then there's no reason to go to college. Well, yeah, there's still a reason to have a teacher.
Sure.
Doesn't mean that you can read the stuff and comprehend it on your own.
100%, and that's the
have
issue.
Accessibility to it,
right?
In case you are that person that can retain that information and then fucking go build a rocket if he wants to, you know.
Plus, there's also. So I made a TikTok recently, and somebody had said something where they were trying to agree with me, and they said, "Yeah, I don't understand why people have to go to class anyway. If you can do it, just let them do the fucking test and get the grade." And I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, but a lot of people get a D or a C or a B minus, and really they could get an A if they had the wisdom that was being delivered by somebody who already knew what they were doing.
Yeah, the prior experience and that.
Exactly. So a textbook still can only get you so far.
Yeah.
A mentor fucking a mentor in any area of your life is going to help you get ahead faster. And better. Like I don't understand this, like how it's viewed as a weakness almost by some people sometimes.
No, but some people just can't afford the mentor, and that's the thing.
I totally agree.
You know?
I totally agree with you. Education needs to be completely reimagined.
Yeah.
Completely reimagined. And I'll tell you what, if we're going to live in a capitalist society and we're going to use education as the backbone of innovation, then we need to start thinking about how funds, taxes and things like that are allocated and who they're allocated to and why. And I think if education is worth that much and it's that valuable, then it should be part of the fucking life that we live.
I don't think we're going to see major changes until boomers are majorly in charge of a lot of universities and higher education, because it's not the teachers who know the students and what the students need or are asking for that are making any decisions about how the students are able to receive that information. And it's a lot of times not even the fucking dean of the college who's making the decisions either. It's a bunch of people in a boardroom, and their only desire is to make money, not to be ahead of anything unless that's going to be profitable. And I think until a younger group of people is the majority of the people in charge of these institutions, you're still going to see people who are scared of technology in charge of a world that's run by technology. We see it in fucking politics all the time. A bunch of people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and the whole world having to slow down for them. And in education, it's getting to the point where it's really, really bad. It's getting to the point where people are like, I could just do this at home on my own. Other than that, I can't get a degree, but I could learn it on my own. And it's like, why aren't schools primarily utilizing the most upcoming technology we have? It's $200+ for a textbook. It's the same price for a virtual reality headset. Like, why? That's how learning should be. It should be futuristic. It should make you excited about what you're learning. And it's become almost the modes of learning have become outdated. They haven't kept up with what people do on a daily basis. And it's going to just turn to garbage if that doesn't change. And it's not going to change if boomers are in fucking charge of it, because they're scared of technology and they don't understand and they don't keep their fucking eyes on it. So we're just stuck. I'm surprised that we still don't fucking use inkwells in classrooms. It's so fucking outdated.
Yeah. Yeah, technology would solve a lot of the problems we have now. Only people knew how to use it. But it's
we don't even have when when we were in elementary school, not your age. I don't know if it had changed yet, but at our age, we were taking computer classes in school, and that's not a thing anymore. And it's because they just assume kids just grow up with computers, but the difference is kids now grow up with fucking tablets. That doesn't mean they understand how things work. So it's there's just a lot of gaps that aren't being filled, and education is just going to keep plummeting until those things are addressed.
Yeah. Even the way that we teach subjects is lagging behind. Language, math, science, history, all those things are just lagging behind. I would hope that after the pandemic and the way that we've used technology to teach classes, it would help maybe in the future.
I wish that were I wish that more than you could possibly imagine that was the case. Disabled people are basically going, wow, it's amazing how accessible the world became nearly overnight for us, and now they're watching all of those accessible things be taken away for the quote unquote going back to normal. And it's why can't we have both?
Almost does, yeah. Yeah, it would be awesome if that was utilized in the future for, people who have accessibility issues, and just in general. I mean, people who live in rural areas that so they don't have to fucking drive out. First of all, the internet issue in our country is also something that's like, we have terrible internet in some. It's
We
like
do.
even upstate
We do.
New York is fucking horrendous. Like,
And you know what
can't
else?
even get cell service. Yeah.
You know what else? It doesn't need to be that bad. You know, Jared.
No,
Jared
no.
said in the chat that my only thing is if the Wi-Fi goes down, then what? And like, it's kind of a funny question to me because I feel like sooner or later the world's going to get to a place where the Wi-Fi doesn't go down. And unless there's a sun flare of ungodly proportions that blows out all the electricity on Earth,
Yo,
I don't really see.
Like
I don't
the
really-
one last 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Did you see that shit?
No.
Dude, this radio fucking wave that came out of the side of the sun was like the size of the sun.
And what did it do to us?
Like,
Nothing.
it didn't aim at us. If it hit us, we fucking probably fried by now.
Well,
That shit
then
was
we're
crazy.
dead. But let me tell you something else about the internet too. Not only does it not need to be this slow, I think sooner or later it's going to be pretty eternal. And if it's not, they're going to find a way for it to be. Like you said, man, like you said, you get a break for an hour. That's what I think the truth is. I think under even the fucking worst circumstances, there's going to be a contingency plan in place to get everything back up and running again. I think it's going to run totally differently in the future. And I also think it's going to be free sooner or later. It needs to be free.
The way the internet is set up, it's not a centralized entity around the planet somewhere. It's not like you can take one country down and the rest of the countries fall.
Right.
It's still going to exist over there if we don't have it in our little town.
Right. I also
know what I
think it should be free. You know, Pat, you talk about like access to information. I think the internet should be free, and I think that if we are going sooner or later, like technology has become such a part of our lives that sooner or later it's going to be part of our bodies and everything else. It's certainly part of our work and how we have to exist nowadays. And I think if that's going to continue on in the future, if things are going to become more augmented reality, more virtual reality, more access online, more cryptocurrency, sooner or later you're just going to have to allow the internet to be a thing that is perfect, powerful, and exists on the whole planet all the time, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It has to.
The way they're doing it with the Space Link, and they got a new one that it's like they're going to allow you to send like text messages or tweets, only like a small amount of information, but some like in an emergency situation, that small bit of information is your coordinates, and that could save your life. So they're going to have this shit all over the planet, like a fucking grid, I guess, and everybody's going to have free access to it. But it's not going to be like broadband or phone usage or anything like that. It's just going to be like text messages or something. But that's like a recent one that's coming out.
But sooner or later, like cell phone is the last stop. The smartphone's the last stop before it becomes integrated into the human body, I think. I think we're 5 years out, maybe less, for having contact lenses that are connected to the internet constantly. And I think that's going to become a necessity for most people sooner or later.
Dude, imagine having a HUD that you couldn't turn off, like advertisements, like on your fucking eye that you can't turn off.
Hey, imagine somebody hacking your eyes and selling your experiences to people.
Yeah, anything like that.
And the thing is like we're closer to that than I think people are giving us credit for. I think we're closer to a lot of weird technological shit than not me, like,
dude,
like
imagine
me, I'm an idiot.
How creepy it would be if like a celebrity had a stalker that hacked their eyes and then just see their life.
Live streamed it in the Times Square.
Any smart device that you own is the weakest link in anything that you have on your network. So a fridge, a toaster, a fucking eye, all that shit is like the weakest link in your system. And they're very easily hacked. So yeah, it's going to be a huge problem when it's body parts.
Yeah, man. To hack people's eyes, hack people's...
Imagine hacking somebody's arm and making them like smack people and shit.
Oh, if people... and then you got to wonder if by the time that's a possibility, are they going to figure out how to stop things like that? Is it going to be like Cyberpunk 2077 where you get hacked doctors?
Every time you come up with a technology to stop people, somebody finds a way around it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's always a way to poke holes. But for how long is that old world thinking now? Like, sooner or later, are things going to be completely impenetrable? Like, eventually,
I don't think so.
like 100 years from now, could these security systems be that good?
If there was a way to like make technology somehow DNA based, like, or something where it's like
Quantum.
Huh?
Quantum, but that's...
Yeah, like I guess there's theoretical ideas, but I wouldn't say that there's anything that like exists that you could build upon. Like, you know what I mean? Like most things you can crack into.
I mean, they have that quantum technology idea right now that kind of like what you're saying, it would be linked to a person's almost like life signal or biosignal or DNA or whatever. And if anybody else observes the information, it immediately destroys itself because it's not your quantum signal or whatever the fuck.
It's gonna be perfect sooner or later.
Dude, that means that there's gonna be weird fetishes where like we can like hack each other's eyeballs so we can like see us having sex with us.
With yourself. You see yourself when you're banging somebody.
Oh my god.
How much would that fuck
like
with? Like, how? Wait. If you could do that, like, how seriously self-conscious would you be every second?
Wait. Hold on. So you could experience yourself.
When I move that way. Like, wait, I have to move this way. Like, you'd be taken so out of the fucking moment.
So you could be yourself having sex with yourself, but then you could be that self who's having sex with yourself having sex with yourself.
I guess.
Then what?
I'd say you nailed it. That's pretty concise.
Yeah.
See, I just feel like this is what people are going to do. That's the first thing. I mean, once you realize you're not going to space or curing cancer, I mean, what's left to explore?
I mean, I'm willing to bet right now. What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, any technology that is created, there is a way to turn it sexual.
Oh, yeah. What is it, Rule 53 of the internet?
Oh, yeah.
There's porn of it.
There's probably somebody right now with a sex doll of themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Definitely.
Yes, there are.
Definitely.
There's probably so many people like that. But like,
holy shit!
Like they can't afford the good ones, so they're like droopy, half blown up versions of themselves with like a seam down their face, and they get scratched every time they touch it.
This thing chafes my junk, but it's the closest thing to myself I have.
Somebody made a fleshy cube thing with an eye in it. You saw that?
Like a Minecraft?
God, I love those things. I really want one. They've been around forever.
Yeah. I saw it a while
Are you talking
ago.
about the fleshy cube webcam? With the eyeball?
No, it's like a...
It's just a colored box with an eyeball.
Yeah, but it's a webcam, and you can scratch it, and it like looks relieved. It's horrifying.
Like you could poke it, and it like opens the eye up real wide. Like, why'd you poke me? Type shit.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Dude, we should get like 100 of those and just put them all over the hallway walls.
Oh my god! So when people come to the show, like 100 eyeballs watch them walk down the hallway. Oh my! That would make every guest feel welcome.
We turned our previous guests into those flesh cubes.
This is what happens.
This is what happens to them. Here's Mike Scroy. Here's Taylor Allen. It's their eyeballs on the walls.
On all of them.
Yeah.
Like tiny little plaques with their names.
Can I bring up a topic of discussion?
Certainly.
I wanted to talk to you guys about Britney Spears.
Oh
You mean the new Michael Jackson?
Oh
no!
Yeah, wow. I
Except
guess
Britney Spears isn't paying the parents of cancer patients to sleep with their children, so I'd say it's not exactly like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I'd say that. I would second that.
Dude, I've been talking about this fucking Britney Spears shit for so goddamn long. I'm so happy that suddenly other people noticed.
Yeah, man, did you guys listen to her speak in court?
I read the transcript.
And then I listened to a little bit of her saying it.
I gotta say, I'm not either, but I gotta say, I don't think that she helped herself too much with the judge talking like that, because the way that she sounded was so angry, rightfully so. But the whole time I was reading and I listened to a couple excerpts of it, I was like, I don't think they're gonna end her conservatorship. If there's anything men love to do, it's control women's bodies. And as soon as she was like, I've had an IUD inside me, I've wanted to have another baby, I wanted to get married, they won't let me. I was like, fuck, no way.
Yeah, that's insane.
Conservative judge that would have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Every fucking buddy is getting paid out of her pocket in order for this to continue. So it's not really in most of their best interest to stop it from happening. The only thing that gives it even the slightest chance is that it's gaining some attention.
Mm-hmm.
And if enough attention
That's
is
why
put
it's
on
good.
a specific judge to make it look like he's doing something outside of what is best. But like the whole thing is fucking, like there's a lot of people that this happens to for reasons that have nothing to do with like having dementia or not, you know, or being dangerous to themselves or whatever. Like this happens to a lot of people with various disabilities. It's more common than people are aware of, and it's fucking criminal. And once they label you basically not a person that has any opinions that matter because you're not fully in your head, like you have a conservatorship, it means something. It means like you can't make decisions. So that also means everything you say doesn't really matter as much as the other people who are watching you, because we can't trust you because you're not really all there. Like it's a way of making someone less of a person. So how do they have rights after that?
Poof. Yeah, it's totally taking away their autonomy as a human fucking being. The fact that I can understand in some extreme circumstances when someone is maybe like brain dead or, you know, has dementia or Alzheimer's that severely limits their ability to think or make decisions. But in this case, I just like, I'm shocked at the fact that they even put a conservatorship on her. She seems like she's capable of making her own opinions, and she seems well-spoken and intelligent. It just blows my mind that like, it's so clear that everything that happened in like 2007 was the result of like her just having a mental breakdown.
Unimaginable pressure and stress.
Well, you gotta think this has been going on in the music industry for years, though.
Absolutely, you're right about that too.
They know that you're a cash cow.
Sure, and then and they just perfected the science with her.
Yeah,
like
the whole thing about the psychologist and her meds and all that shit is very reminiscent of everything that happened.
Yeah, the whole thing is fucking creepy, especially because it's her fucking piece of shit low-life father. Like the fact that like they basically, like before the conservatorship, like just throughout her career, like she naturally sings in a lower voice, but she's made to have to sing in this fucking baby voice that's not natural to her because they made this fucked up image that is like so far away from like what she would have chosen to do had she been able to make those fucking choices at all. And it's creepy. It's just creepy. It's like her father is prostituting her.
Yeah, so he's like a pimp or something.
Like modern day, yeah.
But the pimp is also working for some other entity at the same time. You know, for the movie that runs, or whoever it is, probably Sony.
She said that in her testimony too, which was really scary. It was like, you know, the only situation I can imagine where you work so hard and you're giving so much of your body and you're giving all of your all of the income you generate from that to somebody else, the money that's yours, is sex trafficking.
Yeah.
She said that, and I was like, holy fucking shit. This is modern day, like almost, I don't mean to liken it, but it's almost like she's been enslaved. Like she's it's insane.
100%. Just like Pat, just like you said, man, they found a cash cow in music, and they the same.
Dude,
I mean, not the same thing.
This whole thing in the creepiest of fucking ways, like really, in like the creepiest of ways.
And they didn't even really go into the deep end of it. They just touched the surface, like it was like a society thing doing it to her.
Yeah.
But you go into that it's a music company doing this to her, and her family doing this to her.
But certainly society taking the bait is also a little problematic.
I feel like it's ridiculous that we aren't at a place yet, after decades of watching this shit, where we have no fucking real laws that make it not okay for people to fucking put your life in danger to take a picture. Like, they've been fucking, like, causing accidents, like, just all bunch of shit, like, for the sake of a fucking picture, except it's 5 people, then 10, then 100, and like they're fucking stalking you and shit. Like, why is it bad for a stalker to do that, but then not bad if you're gonna sell the picture for thousands of dollars?
Right.
Like, I don't understand.
The outlawed, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. They're just a collection of fucking parasites, dude.
I just don't understand why there isn't, like, why that hasn't happened, why there isn't a push for that, why it, I don't know if it's just that, like, society as a whole, like, eats this fucking garbage up so much that, like, no way the law is ever gonna step on that. Like, we're never gonna get in the way of the entertainment industry. I don't know what the fuck it is, but, like, I feel like you'd actually have celebrities doing more and not less if you just fucking left them alone. Like,
well, the media is more willing to cooperate if the government gives them leeway to do things, probably. So it's probably like
you're going to do something if you know you're not going to get any fucking trouble for it. Like, something awful.
100%. I mean, like, how is...
Like, those people that, like, the ones that are fucking relentless, like, those fucking assholes with their cameras. I've heard them say, like, this is the job they got into and they knew what they were getting into, which I don't believe at all. I don't believe that anyone pre-celebrity knew how fucking much they were going to be stalked until after they were a celebrity. So that I don't believe at all. But, like, any of those fucking assholes that are just nonstop fucking hiding out and fucking harassing people like that for a shot, like, I wonder what they would think of the idea that of doing that to someone who wasn't a celebrity. Like, would that be a line? Like, oh, I would never do that to a normal citizen. Like, or is it just, well, if they're in public, then fuck them. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, I just wonder if they have any sense of it being wrong, if just in a different context. Like, or if it's just, oh, well, if you're not in your house, then fuck you. But, like, dude, they go through their fucking trash and they fucking have telephoto lenses and look through their fucking bathroom windows. So, like, that's not even safe either.
Right.
Yeah, man. I also, like, how is it not, like, utterly bullying too? You know, like, when you hear, like, if you ever, like, watched video of, like, paparazzi following someone around and fucking with them, it's just, like, gaslighting and, like, pushy fucking, like you owe me this kind of shit. And one other thing I want to say too is, like, I watched.
Please just get one picture, like, oh, you're having a nice day with your son. Let me just get, like, it's like this.
That's gaslighty bullshit, and they say it to you in that tone of voice, hoping that you lose your fucking mind. You know, and like it's
like an even more expensive.
Because if somebody walked up to me and said, "Oh, you're having a nice day. Hey, I'm just gonna take a quick picture of you," and it's like, I know you're getting paid for that picture, you fucking asshole. Like I know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, like, dude, like, that fucking shot, that thing that happened with Britney Spears, where she, like, ended up hitting the fucking asshole's car with, like, her umbrella. I don't know what the fuck she hit it with, but she, like, dented his car or something. Like, it was, like, made out to be as if, like, she went crazy and did something fucked up. And it's like, Okay, but here's the thing. If you just reword that, woman being harassed in parking lot dents harasser's car, like, that's the fucking story. Right. The other shit's not the fucking story. That's the fable that you made up to make this okay to continue doing. Like, they made that fucking guy the victim. And it's like, really? That dude's the victim here. Are you fucking kidding me? He can buy 20 of those cars by taking one of her fucking pictures.
Yeah. And not the brand new mother who's clearly having a hard time.
Totally, man. And I want to caution, like I would caution, like, I don't know, the younger generation from doing the same thing. We were talking earlier about how I feel like Billie Eilish and like Millie Bobby and people like that are like under like attack all the time, but it's just evolved. It's a different kind of attack. It's an online attack rather than a paparazzi attack of like 2006. And it really like is sad because when Billie Eilish like got on the scene and they talked about her and like how she dressed and who she was and all this shit, I felt like it's only a matter of time before the world turns on her. Because I feel like that's part of the evolution of being famous, certainly being a famous pop star, and definitely being a woman. And I see it with Millie Bobby from Stranger Things, too. And I don't know about you guys, but I have to tell you, I'm like legitimately worried about her. I feel like she looks sad. I feel like she has fallen out of the spotlight a little bit because of the bullying she's received online. And I don't know, man, it just surprises me a little bit. It surprises me a little bit because I feel like, you know, the generation that would mostly back up somebody like Billie Eilish would also be the same generation that could recognize that they might be sowing the seeds of the same kind of thing that happened to Britney Spears. You know, and I sincerely hope that that's not something that happens. It's like we're supposed to learn and grow, and if we don't, if we just evolve, like evolving the problem is not growing. It's just changing the problem to a new problem. You know what I mean? So, like, if you take the problem from paparazzi bullying and you turn it into online fan bullying and you don't take the time to listen or understand or be like, this is a human being, I don't know. I don't know if I'm misunderstanding it, but it just seems kind of shitty to me.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. But I think that's a harder problem to solve than just having people with cameras. I mean, that's online. You can't regulate the internet 100%. You know, like people like Billie Eilish are always going to have negative comments and.
But can I say one more thing though? I just want to say that with Billie Eilish, the part of it that especially bothers me is that she made such a big deal out of being a good person and body positivity and all kinds of social justice issues. And I feel like she really meant it. And I feel like she's a good influence and a good person. I mean, I have no reason to think otherwise, really. But I'm watching people just now, really. I'm not even talking about the controversial thing where she mouthed lyrics. I'm not even talking about that. It's her hair. It's what she wears. It's her tits. It's her, you know, how she looks in her pictures now versus how she looked when she was 16 or 17. It's like this fucking waterfall of judgment that's coming. And it's like part of the life cycle. Part of the life cycle of somebody like her that makes me upset is she comes out as a positive influence, really. I can't think of anything negative. And then she grows up in front of the whole world because she goes from being, you know, she goes through the changes of being a young person into an adult. And then the whole world blames her, and then it shits on her, and then somebody makes money off of that, and then she has to go through a rehab and a drug problem, and then she's in an abusive relationship, and then everybody comments on that, and then 10 years later, everybody starts to feel bad, and now we got Britney Spears again. And it's like, that's what I mean. Like, if the public isn't going to learn, then what's the fucking point of any of this?
I think that the interesting thing about what has happened to her in regards to how she looks is that we're basically seeing what happens to a lot of females, but you're noticing it because instead of it happening in our own private lives, it's happening on a huge scale with so many more people doing it because she has attention on her as a celebrity, as opposed to like someone who is living at home and goes to school and work and comes home and has limited interaction with people. But like, she covers up her body. She gets criticized for it. Welcome to being female. Then she starts exploring who she is and she starts changing the way she looks. She gets criticized for it. That's what it's like to be fucking female at that age that she is. Like, every fucking change is exactly what people go through at that age, which is you're just exploring who the fuck you are. You're doing things you didn't do before. You're trying clothes you didn't fucking try before. But like, when you do that as a girl, like in high school or whatever, like, you're criticized for that all the fucking time, but no one really seems to pay attention. But now you're seeing what females go through because she's dealing with it, and everyone noticed it because she's fucking famous. But like, and it's shitty for her, and it's shitty for anyone else that it happens to. It's like, she covered up because she was like, I don't need people looking at my teenage body. Like, I'm underage for first. Like, number one, I'm underage. Like, I don't need to fucking have you like staring at me and judging what I look like. Like, I remember a picture of her came out like a little less than a year ago. It was like some fucking paparazzi picture that she was not posing for. She was like running to her car.
Tank top. Yeah.
She's wearing just a tank top and some shorts, right? And I remember looking at it, and it was like the first time I think I had ever seen her body not covered up in a lot of clothes. And the first thing I actually thought was, holy shit, dude, like, her tits and my tits are a lot alike. And like, I'm always like, oh, my boobs make me look so much bigger than I am because they are so fucking big. And I was like, dude, like, she like has the same chest I do, like that. But dude, she got fucking annihilated for that. Yeah. And it's like how does anyone feel comfortable even having things like that come out of their fucking mouths?
Because she's a lady. She's a girl. She's a young girl too. And people always will, as long as there are female presenting bodies, there will always be people commenting on the female presenting bodies. It's sad to say, but
I feel like it's weird, but it's I don't even know if I can word it right, but sometimes it feels like the reason that happens is because people, for some reason, when it comes to a female, people really demand that the female lives up to whatever expectation they have, which is either like, well, you're this age and you're a role model, so that means you have to only say this and you can't do this and that, and if you do it, I'm going to fucking destroy you, because how dare you go against what I think you should do. Whereas there's other people that like expect the complete opposite, and it's like this, there's this constant expectation, like, you should be a lady, or you should be this, or you should do, and it's like, I don't see that the same way with like men in general, but male celebrities definitely. Like, if someone changes and it's a man, a lot of times it seems like, oh, that just happens. Like, that's just life. And it's weird. It's like, so there's no expectation there. Like, you don't have any set expectation for what they should look like and act like all the time. That's fucking weird to people like me and Kristen.
Or even if they have like a, mini mental breakdown, like Justin Bieber, I remember, was like, there was a moment he got arrested, or like something happened like a couple years ago, and he like he was having a real tough time. And Justin Bieber, I'm not a huge fan of his music, and I'm not a really huge fan of his personality, but like, he was also a young kid that was growing up under the spotlight. They didn't criticize his body and his physique nearly the way they did Billie Eilish. That one time they took a picture of her wearing basketball shorts and a tank top. It's nuts. And even, I think that's so telling, because he did go through a lot of shit, and he hasn't had the best childhood. He hasn't had the best parents. But like, no one put a conservatorship on him. He just kind of like went through it. But yet they did this shit to Britney Spears, and I don't know.
I feel like Britney. Oh. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I feel like Britney was just I don't know, more calculatedly manipulated earlier.
She was crafted.
That's what I mean.
Like, she was crafted into. She went from being Britney Spears, the citizen, the girl named Britney Spears, to Britney Spears, the product. And like, when those two things weren't compatible, they just decided to take her rights away and force her to become the product completely. And it's fucking horrific. It's just, it's fucking horrifying. And who knows if anything's going to change? I just think the only chance of it changing is that there's mounting pressure for it to change. But who knows?
Yeah.
People hated her though at one point. Like, I remember.
Can I say something? Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. Oh no, it's okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're not interrupting at all. Please go ahead.
People hated her at one point. Like, I remember growing up, and I was a Britney Spears super fan. I had her posters on my wall. I had the Barbie doll that you press the belly button and it sang. And then, like, I remember clear as day when my mom was like, "This is no longer appropriate for you." And I was like, what the fuck? And it was after she put out her music video for Slave for You. That this like article came out. I was like, Britney Spears is sexualizing young girls. And they were like saying that how she was like presenting herself in this like hypersexualized way, and that it was like a big like oh my God, how dare she? It's kind of similar. Like, I'm only drawing this comparison because we're talking about Billie Eilish in this sense. But like, at that time that Britney Spears was putting out these music videos where she was taking a little more control of her sexuality, she was already old. She was already an adult, and like what she was doing was like not abnormal at all. And people hated her for that. There were moms against Britney Spears. They were like, no, we can't listen to this anymore. Like, she's like garbage, blah, 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 blah. It was just like this snowball effect that like I very vividly remember. Like, everybody was like, we love Britney Spears. She's great. Oh my God, she's adorable. And then all of a sudden she grew up and people were like, fuck this bitch. She's out here just being a hoe. Like, we can't have that. That's not cool. So I don't know.
What I wanted to say is I hated Britney Spears.
Oh, you did?
And I want to tell you why. Because I don't agree with why I did anymore. Like that doesn't resonate. Like I feel manipulated, actually, kind of, in a way. Because for me, you said the Slave for You video came out and people like accused her of sexualizing girls and all this shit, right? And I was like a metal punk grunge fan, right? So any sort of like pop music, I also loved hip hop. So any kind of pop music that came out was like immediately like some corporate devil. You know what I mean? So like Eminem hated Britney Spears, and like, like there seemed to be this sort of like lack of representation from the rock community, like that mattered at all, which by the way, it fucking doesn't. But at the time I felt like it did, right? So when I saw Britney Spears like in posters and in music videos, and they would try to like market her as like a wholesome character, it always bothered me because I was like, this is bullshit. Like, they're selling her as a sex object, and I don't understand why nobody understands this. But I also accused her of being fake because I could see that this was happening, right? But I had no way of having the knowledge at the time of how hard her career was manipulated, how she was manipulated as a human being, right? And now also I have like a new appreciation in my life over the last decade of like pop music and what goes into it and all that kind of thing. But like, things were so weirdly compartmentalized at the time that it was easy to take someone like me and go, oh, this is your enemy. Because you're a Korn and Limp Bizkit fan, and you love Trivium and The Darkness and all this other fucking, and Marilyn Manson and Eminem and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. This is your fucking enemy. You know what I mean? So people identified music, I think, as like their gang at the time.
That's so weird. Oh gosh.
And like there's, oh my God, there's an article this guy wrote about how music affected people in the 90s and the early 2000s, how like it identified your group. Like when you met somebody, one of the first things you'd ask is, well, what kind of music do you listen to? And that would help you decide whether or not you would get along with that person. It was really fucking weird. You know, so like if you met somebody who liked Britney Spears, it was almost like confusing to you. Like, oh, you're not supposed to like that. That's the enemy. You know what I mean? And that's really fucked up. That's really fucked up that the music industry, I think, turned it into that. Because when you think about it, the moment that you have access to everything and information and music that crosses genres everywhere, it's like all of a sudden your world opens up and it's like, man, it could have been like this the whole time.
Yeah, it could have been like this the whole time.
Could have been like this the whole time.
That's crazy though. I never thought about that. Like I remember kind of growing up and like having friends like in the like if you had to like the emo music, but then there was also like a couple, you know, like there was like this weird crossover. Like I remember distinctly, like it was like I like Fall Out Boy. Who do you like? Oh, I like Panic at the Disco, but we both like Avril Lavigne, and that's like not emo, pop, punk, whatever. It's just like
here's the crazy part. Like the last episode, I talked about how lesser liberal shit led to more liberal shit, and like in my youth, like I feel like I grew up in the age of the crossover when like it really heavily began. Like when rock and rap started crossing over and all this shit. Like we were kind of open-minded to that, but only to a certain extent. And then like your generation comes and you're like the next level, and all of a sudden you guys realize, oh, this is fine if we do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I look at it and everything is like totally mixed together, and I think it's like perfect now. Like
I know it's wild.
Like you can do anything you want now in music or just I don't know, self-expression. You know, I just feel like is in a way right now where you can just do whatever the fuck you want, or we're getting there at least. You know? That's why I love Lil Nas X. I love Lil Nas X more than I love his music. I just think he's fucking hysterical, dude.
Yeah.
And he's another one. I hope they don't destroy him. I hope that his own generation does not attack him and destroy him. And I hope he's not doing anything that comes out in 30 years where he destroys himself.
I don't think he will. I think he's good. I think for the most part, those types of like artists that are coming out now, like Lil Nas, well, Lil Nas X been around for a little bit, but the ones that are sort of now coming out, they're kind of so far into doing their own thing. It's like, fuck you, I don't care. Yeah. Like Willow Smith, like that song that she put out with Travis Barker, a lot of people are giving her grief over it. A lot of people are saying, you know, like, fuck you, like this isn't pop punk, this isn't even punk, and like like you should dress that way, like that's
who cares if it is or isn't? Why does it matter? Who cares?
Yeah, like, a lot of people
are gonna start judging people for what they were in a music video.
Oh my god, fuck this tribal bullshit music.
Yeah, no, it's still like, but like she just doesn't give a fuck. She's like, fuck. I mean, her mom was in a metal band in the early 2000s, and like I'm like, you guys don't even realize that, like her mom did this shit too. But I think it was like she put out an art. She gave an interview, and in it she was talking about how she was like made fun of because she was like, you know, black, and she was listening to like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance, and like it was like, you don't listen to that stuff, you know, like you have to listen to a certain group, or blah 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 blah. I just think that like she just kind of was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make my own music. And that song, by the way, is really really good, and the music video is really really good. And I think she looks adorable. But I feel like those musicians, they're just out here doing it and they don't give a fuck. Like, think about like Megan Thee Stallion. Like her, I'm in love with Megan Thee Stallion.
She's awesome, dude.
She makes music for people who do not give a fuck.
She's funny as shit though, dude. Yeah. She's also fucking hysterical.
Yeah. Oh my God. Cardi B too. Like, there's all this artists out there that are just, I don't think that they would give a fuck. People hate Cardi B too. Hate her for saying the political stuff that she says, the music she puts out, being so in control of her sexuality, not afraid of her past as a sex worker. Like she doesn't care. She's like, well, this is me. Like, fuck you. I'm still getting paid, which I love. But I don't know. I think it's changing a little bit.
It's changing. I could see it shifting, and it's a hard change. It's a change that's been coming for a long time, I think too.
Yeah.
I I just hope I'm not watching a generation make the same mistakes while it thinks it doesn't. That it isn't making the same mistakes. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Like protect your good ones. You know.
Mm-hmm.
If like Billie Eilish is actually a good person, like look out for her.
To be fair, though, even if she was a bad person, go after her for what she's being bad about. Don't go after her because her shirt is the wrong size for what you think is okay. Because that has nothing to do with anything about who she is as, her morals or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, think of like people, it's the same fucking people that bitch about like, oh, like, like what you were saying with Britney Spears, like moms against Britney Spears and shit like that. Like, they're saying that because they had daughters that were probably Britney Spears fans, and they're like, oh my God, my daughter's watching this. And it's like, yeah, but your daughter's also paying attention to the fact that you're negatively affected by someone, a young female who's growing up and doing different things and exploring who they are, like that gets fucking impacted in your brain. Like, if I'm myself, like, am I gonna be fucking disowned for it? Like, if I, like, there's like an underlying fucking message other than just, my child is not gonna listen to this, look at what she's wearing. Like, your child also hears your reaction.
Mm-hmm. And internalizes that stuff. I feel like it was just like there was this weird, I don't know. I wasn't necessarily there for it. I mean, I was a small child, but I feel like the 90s had this weird purity complex. I don't know if that's necessarily, that's just what I gathered.
Did you say a purity complex?
Yeah.
In what way?
In like don't have sex before you're married. Like,
no.
if you do.
No,
like that's bad.
I would say the 80s were more guilty of
like that. I feel like there was this like girls can't be in charge of their own sexuality, which to an extent I will argue that is still true.
I don't know, but I would also argue that the 90s is the first time where like you could be in high school and find people who believe those things more openly.
Don't you think that the big group of people, the big group of genres that were popular then, like, I wouldn't say industrial was popular, but it was certainly something that, I mean, it had been around for fucking decades before that, but then there was some weird, like, whatever. My point is, and grunge and stuff like that, like, to me, in a lot of ways, that seemed kind of like a rebuttal against what Kristen is pointing out.
Yeah.
It was like things that grew out of a need for, like, to be like, guys, like, fuck you. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, isn't that kind of some of the shit Kurt Cobain sung about?
100% he did, man. And he was like, famously would go out on stage wearing a dress and all kinds of shit like that, and that was groundbreaking at the time, even though he wasn't the first person to do it. I think he's I don't know, over credited sometimes, even though I love Kurt Cobain, of course, but he made it famous and he did those things. And I don't know how things looked by the end of the 90s, but it's weird because the beginning of the 90s and the end of the 90s look so fucking different to me. Because the only reason I would think that you would say that is because by the end of the 90s, you had guys like Kid Rock were super fucking big.
I don't know. I don't know too much about Kid Rock.
But at the same time, when I think of the 90s, I think of Nine Inch Nails, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Marilyn Manson. I know Marilyn Manson's fucked up, but at the time, Tool. I mean, honestly, it was those types of groups that were really blowing up were promoting things that generations before them would never fucking promote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like guys like Maynard and Kurt Cobain going out on stage in a dress, that was a fucking symbol that said something. Mm-hmm. Marilyn Manson, completely changing his body you know, in terms of his artistic imagery for like Mechanical Animals. If you take that from Antichrist Superstar to Mechanical Animals, I mean, he went from a completely self-destructive, hateful, self-hating motherfucker, which is how people felt in the 90s a lot, into sort of this transcending kind of like, I'm not sure what the fuck I'm doing, but it's a lot of ecstasy and a lot of acid and shit like that. And I have friends who are gay and all different colors, and my generations before that didn't have that. And this is where we are. This is who I am. And I felt like, you know, a lot of these groups, they did things to promote better social ideas. So I'm curious why the 90s seem that way. Because I'm curious how they're being portrayed that they would seem that way.
I mean, I guess like what I think about in terms of the 90s, and again, I was like a child,
sure,
so I don't really remember too much, but like other than like Nickelodeon cartoons and like Cartoon Network and, you know, Slime and shit like that, I just remember like very young Britney Spears as a child, like the Spice Girls. And I remember a lot of controversy around them becoming sexualized. And I remember like when Britney Spears, they asked her on stage one time, like flat out, they were like, "So are you a virgin?"
Yeah, terrible.
And she was like, "Yeah, I am." And so I feel like there was, I don't know, I feel like there was this expectation for women in those times. Like even Mariah Carey, I think, was asked that, and she like, you know, they had this like super kind of like girlish, innocent look about them.
Sure.
And like Mel B, when she got pregnant, that was like a big fucking deal. And like I remember that too. My mom was like, "No more Spice Girls. They're bad.
Right.
Sexualized too." And so like I guess that's just what I think about like a purity culture. Like I remember backlashes against like South Park.
Sure.
Because I remember when South Park came out, and I was
and
like,
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, I was like,
and
Beavis and Butthead. Yeah.
And this is how liberals at that time became so offensive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we talk sometimes on the show about how in the 90s or 80s and 90s, like certain things that are said now that are offensive would offend liberals, where at the time they wouldn't. It's because the conservative stronghold that people are trying to break from, conservatives were fucking offended by everything.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm gonna.
No, we didn't call them conservatives at the time. I don't feel like we
I just
called
them
any
religious nut
particular
jobs at the time. That's what I said.
Did you ever call them Republic? Was there like a clear party difference between the two?
I don't
or was
think
it
so.
Kind of?
I think that during that period of my life, like a younger teenager and like maybe a middle teenager, I didn't associate those mentalities with a political party. I think I associated them more with a lifestyle, which now can be associated with the political party. But at the time, and I don't know if it was just because like I wasn't particularly political as a young teen when it came to like who was in charge. It was like I was political as far as like being anti-death penalty and working for rights for like certain types of people and working with Amnesty International and stuff. But I wasn't really too concerned with like political parties and what they were doing at the time. That didn't come until I was older.
Yeah.
So when I thought about those mentalities, I thought about religion, religious people, and like a certain like. I feel like we just called them suburbanites.
The people who would approach us in the mall.
Kind of like the label that, like in my mind, that was the label that I kind of had for the people that were doing like the things that Kristen is talking about. And now I would be like, oh, it's probably just a bunch of fucking conservatives.
Yeah.
Right. At the time, it was just the religious people who would come up to us in the mall and ask us why we looked the way we did and whether or not we had Jesus in our life. And that is what led to a sort of mixed misunderstanding of things that happened at the time. Like,
it was amazing to me how many times people like said I was evil because I wore black lipstick or black nail polish.
Really?
Yeah, like that
Sure.
was like a really big thing, and I'm like, I don't understand how they're related to each other.
And they were
like,
also,
I don't understand how those two things have anything to do with each other at all.
Sure. And they were offended by everything.
Yeah.
Everything. That's how you end up having, you know, being surrounded by gay friends, and you look at these people and you say fag or something like that.
Yeah.
Those people were offended by both. They were offended by the language, they were offended by the people, and we sort of enjoyed offending them.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that brings a lot of context into that.
That's why you see so many.
Right.
Like that's why I feel like there's so many '90s band T-shirts that say "fuck" somewhere on them. It was a direct retaliation to the fact that, like, oh, if you're wearing this, if you're wearing a Metallica shirt, you're not allowed in, or something like that. Like seeing like shirts that said "fuck" or like had something on them that was graphic in any way. It was by most people in like these other subcultures. It was just a retaliation. It was just a way of being like, yeah, we know you don't like it. You've told us enough. So now we're just going to fucking do it all the time. Like, it was just sort of like a point of irritation, more so than it was even that, like, you happen to like the T-shirt or something.
Sure.
Like,
100%.
Like, I remember one time I was wearing my Tool shirt with the wrench in the back, and I walked away from my parents one day, and my dad goes, hey, turn around for a second.
Oh, he realized it.
And he was like, okay. And then I walked away, and then he goes to my mom, like, do you know what that is on the back of her shirt? And it's just like they're like the whole point of all of those things was because
to
of
piss
those
off
like
those reactions. Yeah.
And it led to a lot of shittiness and people saying shitty things and doing shitty things. But I think that was the 80s were really fake. And the 90s responded to it. Like when people heard that Marilyn Manson was going up on stage and cutting himself for real, that it wasn't a stage prop, that like meant something. And I can't explain now in any way that makes sense why it did. But the 80s were so fake. It was like the age of Formica and like cocaine and like trying to like create this fake narrative, and conservatives were in charge of fucking everything, and there were anti-abortion commercials on your fucking TV every fucking 10 minutes, and it just was like, it was so
not to
it
be
was
outdone
religious
by all the
nut jobbery.
The fucking war against drug commercials.
Yes, right.
All this, so, dude, the amount of fucking I don't know if you're like too young to remember this happening. You might be, but like there was a time period where like every single commercial break there was a celebrity telling you that like not to do drugs, like it'll make you stupid, like don't ever touch pot, like pot will ruin your entire life and all your friends will hate you and your family will disown you and you'll end up in prison for the rest of your fucking life. Like that was like a constant thing, and it was a lie. Like if they had been more honest and been like, listen, it's probably not going to ruin your life, but like you probably shouldn't do it when you're going to school to learn things. You know what I mean? Like the fact that it was such a blatant lie, then you had musicians that were coming out and they're like, we like fucking Sublime or something, where they're like,
exactly.
And we also like do this and like we're okay. Like it was just it's like everything in the 90s was a retaliation.
That's what it felt like.
You know? And I'm sure that that's happened on repeat. Like, I mean, look at the 1930s, like, and Flappers, like, that was a fucking retaliation against, like, being told, no, like, you can't do this. And they're like, fuck you, I am. Like, it's like over and over and over.
But a couple of shows ago, I remember saying something like saying something or believing something bad has led me to believe the opposite of it. I didn't know how to explain it. And I kind of think this is how to explain it. Like what's being said.
I think this was really helpful to understand the context now.
Yeah.
By the way, I do remember those drug commercials. There was one that really freaked me out.
The person one.
It was in the probably early 2000s, but I remember I was watching like Degrassi, and like I was watching it after like my everybody was asleep, and my mom was like, "Don't stay up watching TV too late. Don't just go back to bed." And I remember just being like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna watch TV anyways." And then like this commercial came on, and it was a girl, and she smoked a joint, and she literally like deflated.
Yeah.
Deflated, yes, that's the best one.
Commercial that ever
And I saw that, and I was terrified. I literally had nightmares. It freaked me out so bad.
That's a terrifying fucking commercial.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And then there's one with like the dog. The dog's like, "Why are you leaving me alone to go smoke?"
Yeah.
So good.
Those were funny. Yeah, those were pretty funny now. But that one did scar me for life. Like, I remember the first time that I ever actually smoked weed, and I legitimately thought that was going to happen to me.
Do you see the power of media?
Yeah. The first time you smoked too much and got paranoid, and that's
I did. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I did. Yeah, I actually the first time I ever smoked, I was I had like a panic attack. Like, I was like hyperventilating, and like I couldn't, like, I was like terrified, and I just was like, "This is a sin. This is wrong. What I'm doing is so wrong."
You're like ripping up your Britney Spears posters. I'm terrible.
Yeah. You said this is a sin.
It's because I listened to Britney Spears. But that's what, like, that's like how I grew up. That's what I was led to believe.
Oh my god, man. Things are so much more fucked up than I thought they were.
Yeah.
Like, I sit here going, how do people misunderstand the 90s? I don't get it. We were on your side, god damn it. We weren't perfect because we're fucked up by people in the 80s who thought the 80s were perfect. They were our parents. But we tried. We tried.
Yeah. It's weird now that the 90s are coming back. Like, 90s fashion is like...
All right. I got my Jenkos. I'm ready to roll.
Let's go.
I got my skunks. It's funny because they used to make fun, like, why were the Jenkos so big? And it's like, dude, you have no idea what a person could get away with in a pair of Jenkos. You could drop a 40-ounce of malt liquor in the back pocket of Jenkos and walk out of a store and have people pat you down and still not find them because there's 220 yards of fabric wrapped around your fucking body. I know somebody got pulled over and the police patted him down with a bag of weed and a bowl in his pocket and missed it because there were so many, the pants were so big and there was so much to go through they couldn't fucking figure
Oh my
it
god.
out. And they let him go. Yeah.
Oh, everyone should buy a pair of Jenko jeans.
They just didn't get it. And then Jenkos, the second Jenkos were gone, everybody was tight jeans again. I mean, so tight your balls fucking showed through.
Started selling again, and they're like $250 a pair, like some fucking crazy number, and it's like, are you nuts? Do you really think that the kids who grew up wearing these can afford $200 jeans now? Those people have been getting paid the same wage since they were fucking 17. Like, they can't afford fucking $200 designer Jenkos.
Yes,
so
America.
Just drop the shit and just fucking sell them for the right price at fucking Hot Topic.
Yeah. I don't know what fucking imaginary decade you live in, but we're making the same money.
Oh god, yeah. I would rather see Jenkos back than see like the weird early 2000s like fashion. Like, that shit was horrible.
Here's the thing, I kind of continued to wear Jenkos up until about 2003 or 4, maybe even, and it was like I didn't know what to do. And like, that's kind of a true story. Like, I transferred into them, and then I was like, what now? I'm supposed to wear pants that fit?
You know what the weird thing was? This is like a true fuck. I feel like if we took a survey of people that wore Jenkos, this would be a real thing for a lot of them. The fucked up part about being someone who wore Jenkos for a long time is that for the rest of your fucking life, your pants always feel like they're too small. Like, it's bizarre. Like
100%.
Like, number one, I really hate wearing jeans, but the only types of jeans that I will wear or like wearing are bell bottoms or like flared, like extremely flared jeans, because I like my shoe to be mostly covered by my jeans, and you can't do that if they're like tapered. But I feel like being so used to having a pair of jeans that not only covers your entire foot, but most of the floor around you, like Batman's cape, it's like really hard to know what is like a normal amount of width around your foot because after that, everything feels tiny.
I prefer that because I remember the Switch. And everybody, they were like, no one's going to wear flare jeans or bell-bottom jeans anymore. It's all going to be straight leg or skinny jeans.
Yeah,
and then like I remember being in high school and like wearing stupidly skinny, like you could see the outline of like my duct tape wallet in the back pocket. And like I had like the chain and like the big huge fucking chunky like skate shoes, even though I never skateboarded, in like a t-shirt. And I remember like one day like struggling. I was like, I really have to like fight to take these off, and like I really just miss my bell bottoms.
Right? Like, yeah, dude, like you just have to reject the reality where you're not allowed to wear bell bottoms like I've done, because like things just suck more without them.
Yeah.
They're the only jeans that I consider even slightly comfortable.
I know. When they got rid of the bell-bottom jeans, that's really when society just took a turn for the worse.
In a lot of ways, for sure.
True. When they got rid of pants that were comfortable to wear, they elected Trump, and then society it just went all downhill from there.
Which is amazing because that motherfucker never wore clothes that were his size.
No. Oh. Yeah, no. He was always dressed like he was ready to escape.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh.
So guys, I think I'm gonna wrap up the evening. What do you guys think? Good times. Good times.
Good times.
Thank you, everybody who watched this evening or shared the show or commented and all that good stuff. Please, like and all that other good stuff. And hey, just us tonight chilling, but we'll be back here in 2 weeks. And hey, guys, that's the show. That's Awesome Talk. Quarantine. Listen, can I tell you guys something? Let me tell you something. Life has been very difficult for me recently, and that's why I've been a little bit invisible, right? But I really do love doing the show, because it kind of gets me to socialize and think and have some fun and have a couple of drinks, and I really, really deeply appreciate it. I know some shit has, got to evolve, in my life, but I just am really happy to be here and do the show and have some fun, and so thank you guys very much for this evening. And I'm gonna go ahead. Who's laughing? Was that Stones?
I don't think Stones is here anymore. I feel like Stones showed up when we were starting, complained to someone that we were starting late, and then left. I don't know. Am I wrong? Because I just saw his little bubble go away, and then that was it.
I don't know.
Like, I think it's hearing things, bro. Nobody was laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a complex is what that is.
All right, guys, I'm wrapping up the evening. Everybody have a great night, and we will all see you soon.
See you later.
Awesome talk. We got some awesome talk today. Awesome talk, oh awesome talk. You all like the way we talk. It's awesome, awesome talk, oh awesome talk. You like the way we awesome talk. It's awesome talk, fucking awesome talk. You like the way we talk. It's fucking awesome. Ooh.